read part of it, and then that'll give us some context to have a conversation. Unfortunately, we have seen some in Congress act as if they were part of the media. I want to just stop right there and say of all the criticisms that members of Congress have gotten in the 6 years I've been here, that one hurts the most. Instead of introducing bills that could help our agency, they'd rather go for the 30-second soundbite that tarnishes the reputation of the agency and work ethic of its personnel. This is unfortunate, as we do have many allies in Congress and appreciate the work of the Secret Service, its personnel, and want to help, but they are overshadowed by the screaming minority who might not even be able to pass the test for our job. Now, I consider myself to be one of your allies, so I don't think you have a better friend in Congress than the former prosecutors. But I am wondering what members of Congress you were referring to that would rather pursue a 30-second soundbite than help the agency.
Well, Representative Gowdy, I guess first and foremost, that isn't my quote. It was a quote of a representative from the Secret Service who is a member of my association, and it came out on our letterhead. So yes, our concern on this thing is and we've been dealing with your committee, in fact with you, with the chairman, and expressing our concerns that this is a budget issue that needs to be going from the authorizers to the appropriators, and asking the appropriators to, to add the money that will help with the pay cap on this thing. And,
well,
and I
see
got to
there,
admit, sir,
you just made your case without talking about any member of Congress who is more interested in a 30-second soundbite than they are helping the agency. You just did it, which makes me wonder why this memo didn't do it. Are there members in particular? I actually don't think I've ever been on television talking about the Secret Service, so I don't think you're talking about me. Who are you talking about?
In this case, as I said, Mr. Gowdy, I didn't write that one, so I'm not too sure specifically which member was being talked about. But it came out on FLEOA letterhead. Yes, sir.
Right?
Yep.
And I'm assuming you don't let people send things out on your letterhead that don't at least have some imprimatur of your support.
Well, Mr. Gowdy, what I can do on that one is I can go back to the author of it and find out which member he was speaking about specifically. But I got to tell you, this is a can that's been kicked down the road for years and years in terms of this overtime issue.
Right, I get that.
There's a lot to blame.
But because I am an ally, sometimes allies also need to offer some words of correction. That paragraph ended by saying, overshadowed by the screaming minority who might not even be able to pass the test for our job. Can you see how that might have gotten my attention, the way that would be phrased, might not be able to pass the test for our job? That's a curious line to put in a memo, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Except it's not curious. You and I know exactly what that author was talking about, don't we?
I could guess at it, yes.
Guess.
It'd be some members of this committee.
Such as whom?
I have no idea. How
about the one whose personnel file was accessed? Could it be that one?
I would say that there hasn't been very good treatment of that application over the years, which is one of the reasons why we're here. And maybe that was a subliminal reference to it. I don't know.
Well, it's actually not subliminal. It could not be more clear. There's nothing subliminal about it. It just flat out says who could not pass our test for our job.
And it was a general statement on it, not specific, sir.
Well, Mr. O'Carroll, you can't run a license tag because you happen to think the driver is cute. You can't run an NCIC background check because your kids might be hanging out with some bad characters. And you can't access the personnel files of members of Congress that you happen to not like at that particular point. You would agree with me there, wouldn't you?
Reprehensible, and I agree with you.
All right, well, it's reprehensible. Mr. Inspector General, what happened to him?
My understanding is that there was discipline that was imposed by the department. I don't have those details because I was not involved in the discipline process.
Well, when you say discipline, give me the range of discipline that could be possible.
Well, I think the range of discipline could be anywhere from termination.
Was anybody terminated?
My understanding is No.
Was anybody given time off,
My understanding was, yes. people
with or
were
without
given-
pay?
Given time off without pay that was not suspended. There was a number of individuals who were received time off, and that was suspended, but there were others who actually did get time off.
How pervasive was the breach?
Well, our report said that it was approximately 40-some people, only of which 3 had, or 4, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Is there any ambiguity on whether or not it's a good idea to access anyone, member of Congress or otherwise's application or personnel file to use for retributive purposes?
No.
Is there any ambiguity about whether or not that's a good idea?
It is not.
Can you let me know what discipline was meted out? There's no one in Congress that holds law enforcement in higher esteem than I do. No one. But we choose to go into that line of work, and the rules apply even to us. And I think accessing programs that the public does not have access to try to embarrass your critics, to use Mr. O'Carroll's word, is reprehensible. So I'd like to know what punishment was meted out.
Very well, thank you.
With that, I would yield back.
Thank the gentleman. Well, I recognize